Hello and welcome back to Coffee Break Automation. Today I want to follow up on the previous video we did, which if you remember was we were taking a lead that was generated in Typeform and we were automatically adding that to our Notion database. So we have a database of leads capturing exactly the information that we want. Now what I want to do this time is follow up on that. It's great that we've got the leads information, but we actually now want to do something. We want to send them a follow-up email asking them to book a meeting. So we're not just leaving that lead in a database, we're doing something practical with it. So without further ado, let's get into the Notion side of things. Now, as you'll remember, this was our Notion database from the Typeform entry. And if you don't remember, please go back and watch the video. It's got a load of test data in, which is great. Including test company, what industry they're in, current tools like a CRM, what challenges they're facing, all of that sort of stuff. And it's important we do have one entry in here so we can use it in Zapier. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this information, we're going to open up Zapier, as you'll see, and we're going to start from scratch. So instead of using Copilot this time, we're going to go from create and start from scratch here. We're going to choose Zaps. And what we're going to do first is select our trigger, but this time our trigger is going to be an entry into our Notion database rather than a Typeform entry. So we're going to click Notion there. Again, if we need to connect it, it's a one-click connect, but we're going to choose new data source item here. Like I said, it's really important that we do have an item of data in there. You'll see later for the testing approach. And if we wanted to create a new account, it is just the one click. Then we're going to configure this. We're going to double check that this account management and ID match exactly the Notion that we want to run with, which it does, which is fantastic. So we select that. Then in test, you'll notice here when we test the trigger, this is important as to why we need a data source. We have our data source there that we can use as an example for this case. So that's great. We're going to continue with that. So the next step that we're going to do is we're going to actually connect Calendly because we want to add a meeting link that someone can follow up with straight away. So what we're going to do if we need to connect, we do again the one-click connection account. We're then going to choose an event, which for us, we just want to choose create a one-off meeting link for this email that we're going to set. There's a few options we have to go through in configure. Event name is completely up to you. This is your choice entirely, but it is important when we get to the host user that you do choose yourself and make sure that matches. Next, we could add co-hosts or any of the other options here, but I'm going to simply focus on adding duration and the start and the end date of the limits of this booking. So we're going to do the 10th of Feb to the 20th of Feb, just to keep it simple for now. And location kind, we didn't need to enter this, but I am going to specify it as a Google Meet. And what we can do is we can test this step. It's not important now really to know what this does, but just know that this has worked. And we'll go through what all of these data points mean and how we can use them in our email itself. So once we've done that, we're going to look at the final action we want to do. Now, there is various different email and marketing providers that you can use. So you could use MailChimp, you could use Zoho. If you've got Klaviyo, there's a connection to Klaviyo if you want a more personalized experience. But for this example, we're going to use the simple Zapier one, which doesn't have any customization, just for the sake of this example. So we'll go ahead and we'll select that email there. And then we're going to choose an event, which is just to send an outbound email. And now we can configure this. So who we're going to, it's really important that we choose from that Notion step exactly who we're sending this to. And we need to make sure that we select the correct field for that. Next, we're going to put a subject in, which is welcome. Please schedule a follow-up email. And then we're going to go in and we're going to put what we want the text to be of this email. Now, like I said, this is just plain because we're not doing any customization. We're not using a specialist marketing tool, but we can still add customization in the form of selecting their name from the Notion input again, which is great. And then we can also, and this is the important step, actually add in the meeting link from Calendly automatically. So we can go into that Calendly step and we can select resource scheduling URL, which is great. And this is it. This is done. And this is obviously the most basic form. We can add a load of additional options, but this right now would send a follow-up email to anyone that has firstly filled out the type form, has come into our Notion database, it will send them an automatic follow-up, so you're not losing that. Now, if you wanted to get more customized with it, we could actually integrate ChatGPT. And what we could do is we could give ChatGPT more of the information from Notion, things such as the company details, the industry they work in, their current tools, their biggest challenge, all of this to get more personalization. So there's a load of fun things we can do off the back of this. We can even add in example emails that you've sent in the past to get more of a brand voice, which would be amazing to do. But we're going to leave that now. We're going to just stick with our current email. And as you'll see here, we're not going to test the step because it's not going to an actual email. So we're not going to test it, but we can just double check that it looks exactly how we want it to look, which is fantastic. And that is it. That is the simple creation process for this. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a like. Please subscribe to the channel as well if you're not subscribed. And if you have any suggestions for any automations you want to see coming up in a CBA, please drop them down in the comments. And thank you again for listening. Thanks.